Every obby is unique in its own way. Either it's from design, their frustrating gameplay, or style of obbies. In this video, I'll be covering every single obby style and explaining how they work. Also make sure to subscribe and join the Discord. Starting off with probably the worst one. Wall hop obbies are obbies that use an interesting trick called wall hops. Wall hops are a precise flick you can do when your character's legs are in between two separate bricks. If you flick your camera just right and jump at the perfect time, it can give you an extra jump. And this can go on infinitely if the wall is long or high enough. Wall hops are primarily used in difficulty chart obbies, since they are generally frowned upon in other obbying communities. Although wall hops can be accidental in obby games like JTO, where obbyists can save themselves by wall hopping at the part where the floor changes. Just keep in mind this is extremely difficult to do and it's really inconsistent, so it can be abused. Speaking of JTO obbies are tower obbies that utilize a floor-based obby style, as you can see here. Tower of Hell also uses this obby style, and due to these games, many fan-made games are also made. Tower obbies tend to be really long and test the patience of the obbyist. It's definitely not hard to find tower-based obbies on Roblox, but tower obbies are a big category, where gameplay styles fall under, which I will mention later in this video. Tower of Hell is a tower obby, yes, but it also works as a rush obby, since you have a restricted time to beat the obby. But an obby game that is primarily a rush obby is Flood Escape 2, where you have to complete an obby as fast as possible with doing all the objectives like clicking buttons. Meanwhile, at the same time, water or lava is rising, and if it reaches you, you die and fail the obby. For these obbies, you need to learn how to stay composed in difficult situations, and obviously be able to complete obbies fast. If you remember, there used to be speedrun games like Time Test that were really popular at one point. These games required you to complete really short obbies, like 10 jumps, as fast as possible, and then try to get on the leaderboard. Proximity obbies, also known as wrap obbies. These are obbies that focus on wraparounds and stickouts. Many people find these obbies really fun, because of the variety of jumps and camera movement it requires to beat them. Wraparounds are jumps where your character needs to jump around a wall that can be walked around, like this. Whereas stickouts are basically the same thing, they stick out over the platform the player is on, hence the name. The game Wraparound Proximity is a true wrap obby, with only consisting pure wraps and no other jumps. Story obbies primarily focus on the design or story of the obby. An easy example is Misplaced in Time, which is meant to depict dementia with its declining gameplay. If you want to find an obby with incredible design, this would probably be the place to look. These builders spend weeks, if not months, perfecting the design and atmosphere of obbies, and only then start to build gameplay. Obby builders like this also tend to build showcases, which are games simply made to look good, and you can just join the game and experience what someone has made in Roblox. These obbies go off the idea of creating weird and tricky jumps using the knowledge about Roblox physics. A big and popular obby that is known for this is Snacks. These obbies use stuff like lodges, ledge climbs, wall hops, high jumps, etc. Linear obbies, also known as standard obbies. We now start the obby gameplay styles, as I mentioned previously. Linear jumps are found in most simple obbies, with easy and understandable jumps, and nothing that requires your character to squeeze or move in unnatural positions. These jumps test pure skill. These obbies aren't complex, but they can be very difficult. Obbies like Comatose fall into this category, and most towers on JTO. These jumps are mostly seen in easy obbies, But as I said, if the builder is skilled enough, they can be extremely hard. Jank obbies are the polar opposite of linear obbies. Jank obbies involve very difficult and complex jumps. Some might look really simple but are actually incredibly hard. Or jumps that you might just not understand how to do even after hours of trying to figure them out. Easy Jank obbies don't really exist except for some. These obbies are usually so weird that they're just hard to make easy. The way Jank jumps are made is by rotating bricks, cylinders, and circles all in different positions and mashing them together to make a really weird jump. A mechanic you'll see a lot of in Jank obbies is climbing. Yeah, like climbing a ladder. But in this situation you climb very tiny objects and you need to move across them precisely. Jank obbies also separate in two different categories. Heavy Jank, which is basically Jank but on an extreme level. One example being the Obby Exit. And the other category is normal Jank. Finally, tech obbies. These obbies also have really weird mechanics, but only at first. If you play these obbies long enough, you'll learn every jump and be able to perfect them. All you really need to know are the techniques for them. These obbies definitely have some of the most creative gameplay out of all obbies on Roblox. I've seen interesting jumps like downward lodges being made and climbing on tiny parts of trusses. Although very interesting, there's not much obbies like this that exist, since this requires incredible creativity and skill to test and build the jumps. Tech obbies are also separated in two categories, just like Jank obbies, heavy and normal tech. Huge thanks to Red for most of the obby styles. I didn't even know some of these existed. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments. What do you think is the best obby style, and why? Anyway, thanks for watching, and again, make sure to subscribe.